That's right. Welcome, folks, in the ring to each and every one of you. Welcome, guys. Would rather be no other place than with each and every one of you. Whether you're joining us on Twitter, folks, you're joining us on Facebook, Blue Meta app. Whether you're joining us on YouTube, you're joining us on LinkedIn. Welcome in the ring to each and every one of you. Trust you guys have had a fantastic, productive, beautiful day. We fired up, guys, and we are ready to go. Fired up, ready to go, fired up, ready to go. And we trust that you guys are as well. Good to see Ingrid Crawford joining us, and Stephen Monroe, Sandra John, and Diana Jones. Rena Cummins is here as well. Cheryl Schroeder, Junior Johnson, Paul Bino, Denise London Welchman, Amabel Clement, Stephen Monroe, Patricia Asana, and also Beatrice Selby, not to be left out. Guys, welcome. It's only I can get suspended for the National Assembly one day and get suspended the other day as well for the same period of time. Wow. Interesting things happening. And we're going to have coming up, the Chief Whip of the National Assembly, Christopher Jones himself, is going to be joining us. Coming up, Christopher Jones himself will be joining us, and we are so privileged, so very, very privileged to have Christopher Jones stopping by, folks. Christopher Jones stopping by. You know, one of the monitors here giving a little zinging song. I don't understand why, but coming up, folks, Christopher Jones, the Chief Whip of the Parliamentary Opposition, will be joining us, and we are so glad and so privileged to have each and every one of you with us. Chris is going to be joining us shortly. Guys, you know, as we come into the ring, the Coliseum, and the arena, folks, we have to share the live stream and smash that emoji button as well. Lots of information to share with you guys. Lots and lots of information to share with you. And we are happy you are here. I'm happy I'm here. We are all happy. Can we get a move on now? Well, I'm grateful that you guys are here. Trust you guys have had a productive day at work, at school, whatever you did today, folks. Coming up, Christopher Jones. Welcome, one and all, wherever you're joining us from. We're so privileged, so delighted to have you kind-hearted, uncontroversial, beautiful people with us this evening. I don't know about you, but I am ready to get to the fight card. Folks, I am ready to get to the fight card. Even though this monitor I have is giving me a little zing sound. I don't know what's causing that. Is it folks? Is it people? Be on to y'all. Welcome in the ring, guys. Trust you guys have had a beautiful day. I had a restful day. No need today to rush off to the National Assembly. Even though I was suspended yet again. So it wasn't done right the first time, or so nice we gotta do it twice. One wonders. I will pick the brain of the Chief Whip, the Parliamentary Chief Whip, as he stops by. But guys, those of you who are joining us this evening, welcome. Whichever social media network you're joining us from, folks, whichever country around the world you guys are joining us from, we are so privileged to have each and every one of you. Well, Irfaan speaks on the Jack Dio Sue issue. Sugate, Irfaan speaks, and the journalist Isobel Young has also spoken. Well, quote unquote spoke. Quote unquote. And we're going to talk about that a little later on in the program as well. Sugate, folks, let's get to the fight card. Let's get going. Good to have you guys. Strap yourselves in. Lots to discuss tonight. We want to see those comments. We want to see those shares as well, folks. We are privileged. We have folks like Rennie, Juiceberry, Tyler here with us, Quanamingo, Sheena Hazel, Jackie Beard, and Leslyn Alves. Auntie Leslyn, how do you do? Jackie Beard and Penelope, good to see you. Stephen Monroe and Urban Dawn Cook, Patricia Kassoon and Natasha Paddy, good to have each and every one of you folks. Breaking news tonight as we start. Breaking news, folks. Breaking news. And so many people, you know, not oftentimes you have breaking news. A lot of folks are happy. But for some reason, the folks who sent this to us said to us, you know, a lot of folks are going to be happy by this. And we had to bring it up on the fight card. They seem convinced that you're gonna be delighted. Is once in a while you get some good news and you have to celebrate it and so forth. But this is breaking news. There's never a dull moment in OBG, British Guyana. There's never a dull moment here, folks. Never a dull moment. Breaking news. And here's what's making the news, the front of the news this evening, folks. GRA is freeing up. GRA is freeing up, folks. Sex toys. Yep. Apparently they are. And we're being made to understand that previously, ladies and gentlemen, these were prohibited devices, instruments, and implement sex toys. But GRA put out a statement, folks. This is not the Guyana is not a real place segment as yet. GRA put out a statement today, and I want to go through some of that for you because I don't want to keep anything from you guys. We want to always get to you guys valid and credible information. So this is what GRA said in this statement just today. I tell you, bringing you all valid and credible information. And this is what GRA is telling us. Right? I don't want anything to hinder your view, folks. Right? So this is what GRA is telling us based on this. GRA said in this statement here, approval has been given for the importation of sex toys for personal use. Breaking news for personal use. And in this release here, it says, all officers of the Customs and Excise and Trade Operations Guyana Revenue Authority. This affects all of them because they need to understand that this restriction, quote unquote, is being lifted. But here is the background. According to GRA, complaints have been received from persons who import such items. They've been complaining that these are not obscene articles as per the current interpretation and treatment. The Customs, Excise, and Trade operations over the years have been treating the importation of sex toys and other similar articles as prohibited items. Right? That's all they've been treating them as prohibited items. What happens now? This is the effect of what GRA is putting in place. Departmental Instruction 1 of 2022. The first instruction GRA issued for the new year. This is the effect of it. This issue has affected stakeholders. Yes, they've been affected by sex toys in the clearance of the items for their personal use, contrary to the efforts made under the World Trade Organization agreement to remove or reduce barriers to facilitate trade in a changing environment. And then GRA goes on to outline in this statement here how times are changing and so forth and such and all the other stuff. And as a result of that, they are now no longer deeming sex toys as prohibited objects or implements or tools or what have you, based on the classification according to GRA. So that is the breaking news, folks. Breaking news. Sex toys are no longer going to be considered as prohibited. They're no longer going to be considered as prohibited. Folks, and that is what's happening on that front. Who is sharing their live stream this evening, folks? Let folks get the valid and credible information. So no longer you have to sneak these ones through customs. You can proudly bring in personal use. That's what GRA is telling us. For personal use. Moving along, folks. Breaking news. Moving along. Here's what some of what is happening around the world. And the first story, folks, and this one, believe it or not, they have no correlations. They have absolutely no correlation. As we get the valid and credible information, folks, we bring it to you guys. We bring it to you. There's a pastor in a place called Togo who believes very strongly that Jesus has said to him to wear high heels. And that is what he has been doing. He believes very strongly that Jesus directed him to wear high heels, and he has been wearing high heels and preaching, folks. Yep, believe it or not. If it were alive, he would have told you so. Valid, incredible information. Togo is the place he claims Jesus told him he has to wear high heels. Yep. Yep. I don't know how to tell him this. I don't know how to tell him this, folks, but I would rather suspect. Moving on. Moving on to the fight card, folks. Moving on the fight card. Around the region, here's what's happening in St. Lucia. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia, folks, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia has come down with COVID-19. And St. Lucia is one of those places that has not been affected so much like some of the other islands in the Caribbean. St. Lucia. And the Prime Minister's office issuing a statement today stating that the Prime Minister has been infected with COVID-19 and of course will be observing all of the COVID protocols at that end as relates to COVID-19, social distancing and isolation and all of that. Yep, that's what's happening in St. Lucia. Respect and manners to all our countrymen there in St. Lucia. Avoid the Prime Minister at all costs at this time. Moving on to the fight card, folks. As we run COVID, you all know the COVID surge locally is continuing. The COVID surge is continuing. But who cares? We never did. This regime, they never did. Broke their own COVID regulations and rules many times. They never did. But here's what's happening on that front, folks. Here is what is happening on that front. Yep, this is COVID-19 country. And the head of state, the install Irfaan Ali, said to the nation just today that they're about to relax the COVID curfew. Yep, as you know, it starts at 2300 hours and goes until 4 a.m. It goes up until 4 a.m. And they are about to relax that curfew in very, very short order. In very, very short order, they're about to relax that curfew. And we are being told that there is a process that needs to be followed involving the Minister of Health and the Central Board of Health. And when asked whether any of the other existing COVID measures will be relaxed, the Prime Minister, Mark Phillips, installed, albeit, he said you'll just have to wait and see where that is concerned. And so the installed administration, they're getting ready to relax the COVID-19 protocols. Yep. They're getting ready to relax. As you know, we are in a COVID surge, but they're getting ready to relax the curfew, and that is what is happening on that front. In addition to that, just today, 160 new cases of COVID-19, and we are well over 62,000 confirmed cases locally, with an active case load of about 4,000 persons. Yep, 62,000 confirmed cases. And I dare say, when this regime took over in August 2nd, 2020, there were 21 deaths and there were 474 confirmed cases. Now there are 62,000 as we push on 2 years of this installed regime. Yep, relaxing COVID curfew, they say as soon as tomorrow, and also more new cases. But the folks have always acted as though COVID was over. So in a sense, we were only fooling ourselves with the regulation. That being said, folks, moving on in the fight card. Moving on. As we run health, Frank Anthony recently said that they are considering measures to stem the tide of trained nurses leaving. That's what he said. Considering measures to stem the tide of our nurses leaving. The Minister of Health says that there are other monetary incentives that the regime is looking at in place of in place of the considerations in reducing persons leaving, nurses leaving, this exodus of trained and qualified nurses. They're trying to stem that, right? And to stem that, they're actively looking at non-monetary incentives. So even though the last increase, the 7%, was meager, they don't seem to be going in that direction very soon. They say non-monetary, even though the Minister of Health says they are losing nurses to other countries at a very, very fast rate. One wonders why. Was it the 7% for them? Was it the 7% for them? And now non-monetary incentives are being looked at. And he said also that one of the countries in particular that they're losing nurses to is Great Britain. Good evening, High Commissioner Jane Miller. We're losing our nurses to Great Britain. And to combat that, Minister of Health says he's going to look at non-monetary incentives. Wow. I want to know if that is what is attracting them to Great Britain. Non-monetary incentives. Perhaps, folks, and that is what's happening in this aspect of the fight card. Non-monetary incentives. That's what we're looking at. We tell you guys all the time, Guyana is not a real place. It's not a real place. And that being said, and even though we know it's not a real place, it seems to be getting crowded. It's plenty of we. We know, since we were young, we were told, we got a population of about 750,000. Very small to the kinds of mineral wealth and resources that we have as a nation. And it seems to stem that, to improve that, if we can go the way of rearing and caring for children, birthing children through that process. We can invent now. It's not a real place. So this was happening, folks. It is not a real place. It's becoming crowded. It's becoming crowded. Some of you would have woken up this morning to see that the Gotham seemed to have left where it was and has now been transposed and transplanted locally. So the Guyanese critic, aka the Joker, who had accused Kieran Bruce of being mudwater, came out the closet last evening as the Joker. It's getting crowded, folks. Kieran Bruce, in turn, has sued critic for a lot of money, for a lot of money, for a lot of money. And that's all we're going to say on that matter. That's all we're going to say on that matter. We know some of you are transfixed right now. Transfixed. But we invite you guys to share the live stream so that other persons get the valid and credible information. It's getting crowded in this country, folks. It's getting crowded. Because if you see the joke anywhere, you're going about the city or the country and so on, say hello for us. Say hello for us. And we still maintain free mud water. We still maintain and advocate free mud water. Free mud water. Moving on the fight card, folks. Moving on the fight card. Photo of the day, folks. Photo of the day. You know, a lot of people got excited today when they saw photos circulating on social media because they said, finally, after many years, finally, they're happy. Everybody got somebody. And so there was excitement. But on close examination, people realized it was not to be. People saw this photograph circulating on social media. And they said, BJ gone. BJ gone. But again, on close inspection, there was a lot of excitement. People said, let's start buying gift now. You know, BJ going to give up on this public life thing, save us some headache, save us some hardship, and be focused now on family life once and for all. But alas, it was not to be. Whoever the happy couple are, whoever the happy couple B. We say respected manners to y'all. As you guys sail into the bliss of the rest of your lives in this Valentine season, we were hoping that with someone else in the picture, BJ might be busy, too busy for the hardships they have brought upon us, too busy for the burdens they've placed on us. And there might have been, some in the near future, some little ones running around in Pradoville, making use of all that space there in acreage by the sea. But alas, folks, it was not to be. Who's helping us to share the live stream tonight so that others can receive the valid and credible information? Is this wrong one or is it wrong two? Help us share the valid and credible information. We know some of you get transfixed when you come to the program. You all don't want to move. But that's what's happening there. As I said, a lot of persons got very excited. There's action here now. But alas, it was not it. Moving on to invite card 4. That's the picture of the day. Well, you all know budget 2022 was passed this afternoon. And what a process it has been. In one budget cycle, I was sent to privileges, suspended twice in 2 days from the National Assembly. What a process it has been. But one of the aspects of the budget that is raising a lot of eyebrows, folks, is the fact that when you look on the areas where they're spending the money on, it seems to favor one geographical location. It looks like an electoral map almost when you see how some of the spending in this budget is being undertaken. And we didn't get to Chinese companies yet. We haven't gotten to Sue and Chinese company in our broadcast, but we're coming down. Bear with us. Hold up. Bear with us, folks. Bear with us. We're coming down to Sue. Right now we are the budget. And our eyes were drawn, for instance, to the regional budget and how those allocations were done. And see, folks, for yourself, if perhaps you can see a pattern emerging here. Now, this is how monies were given out to the various regions at the local government level through the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. Region 4 is the biggest and most populous region. But interestingly, Region 4 has been won historically by the APNU AFC. And by extension, the PNC. Historically, it has been won. Region 4 is the most populous region. And that region had its budget cut by some $18 million. And y'all know we maths and good, so I'm looking at the guys to make sure I'm on key. Right? It is down. Let me just say it is down from what it was last year. It is down 15%. That's what the guys are telling me. From what it was last year. And even Region 7 and Region 10, even though they were given additions to their budget, it is not to the same percentage to other regions that seems to vote PPP. It seems as though those regions, 10 and 7 and 4 got far less than it got the last time, and Region 7 and 10 were minuscule in comparison to other regions. So when you look at the spending, folks, it seems to favor an electoral map in this one Guyana that we hear being preached almost on a daily basis. It seems to favor an electoral map. Is this what one Guyana looks like? That because you live in Region 4 and you favor a certain political party, you have a certain political outlook, you get less resources? Is that what one Guyana looks like? Because you're from Region 7 and you favor a certain political party, you don't get the full benefit of the resources of the state? God forbid you live in Region 10 and you favor a certain political party. You don't get the uses, the full uses of the resources of the country in comparison to other regions that favor another political party. Is this, folks, for instance, how we are building one Guyana? But we're coming down to the architect of one Guyana. We're coming down to Sue, folks. Stay with us and share the live stream. I told you all, Irfaan spoke today, and you're going to want to stick around for that. In the meantime, buckle up, buckle in, and look at what one Guyana looks like. And this is just the regional spending. And over the next few weeks and months, we are going to be following where they're putting down the projects. And we're going to show you that it follows instead a one Guyana map. It follows an electoral map instead. So this is just the regional budget, seemingly to favor all of those places that traditionally vote PPP as against those that don't. Again, folks, Region 4 is the largest, most populous region. And it gets less than it got last year. Even though this is the biggest budget ever, dubbed the oil budget. So them boys passed the budget today. But look where the spending happening. I ain't like this one Guyana. I can't lie. I don't like this one Guyana. Moving on from there in the fight card, folks. Things tight. Things tight, folks. Y'all want to know how tight things tight? Look how things tight. Now people used to be catching their hand, apparently. Because things so tight, they carry to work little plantain chip and little tamarind ball in them health facilities. And apparently they used to be selling to patients. Well, look out now. Because the biggest budget passed and everything gonna be nice, everything gonna be slack, nothing won't be tight anymore. So this is what they said. Just today, we saw this being released. And this reads, it is from the Office of the Regional Health Officer. And it's to all heads of department. And it serves to inform that effective immediately or with immediate effect, there must be no vending to patients by staff within any health facility in Region 5. And we're being made to understand this is nationally. Can you imagine things so tight? Staff got to be selling food to patients. That's how tight things tight. Staff selling food to patients. That is how tight things tight, folks. You want to know tight things tight? That is how tight. That is precisely how tight things tight. Precisely how tight things tight. That is precisely how tight. So no more selling. That might be a good thing because after all, it's the biggest budget ever. And money gonna be circulating door. And we're gonna be tracking all of it. No more staff to patient vending. No more staff to patient vending. And that's what's happening. That section of the fight card. We coming down. I tell y'all. We there by Sugate. Sugate fancy. And Sugate expensive. It's fancy and expensive. Those of you who are perhaps new to Sugate, who've been living on the rock, we feel it's our duty to give you guys a little refresher on Sugate. A little refresher, folks, on Sugate. It's the biggest thing since sliced bread is Sugate. Some folks said they'll never see a Chinese in a set before now. Best thing since sliced bread, Sugate. So for those of you who are new to this, we thought we ought to give you guys a little refresher on where we started and where we are currently. So folks, those of you who have shared, only talking to those people who have shared the live stream and those who have smashed the emoji button. It's only those people I'm speaking to tonight. Only them. Only them are talking to. So to get started with an interview, apparently that was done early February. I think the first was given as the date of the interview. Nobody knew this interview was done between the Vice Media Group that produces Vice News and its journalist Isobel Hyung. Nobody knew this interview was done, save and except when 2 days ago, the Vice President Bharat Jagdeo published a portion of that interview on his Facebook page. And that is how we knew for the first time that this interview was done. Folks are going to want to share the live stream. That's how we knew the interview was done. The following day, because of the backlash and the PR fallout from the interview where we heard the name Sue for the first time and bribes being allegedly taken and given and meetings set up to facilitate bribes and to facilitate big contracts, those allegations were put forward in that interview and denied by the Vice President. The following day after that interview was published on the Vice President's page, there was a PR stunt. They call it a press conference. So the Vice President put out part of this interview and then had to come and call a press conference to do damage control. That is the denial. So we got the interview, the denial, and then yesterday morning, after our morning show, the Chinese embassy put out a statement because we dealt with this matter on our morning show, FYI. The Chinese embassy in Guyana put out a statement that its representatives and contractors and businessmen doing work in Guyana were all above board. That is what the statement said. And that they found the interview very suspicious that was held between the Vice President and the Vice President and the journalist from Vice Media Group. They found it very suspicious. That was a statement from the Chinese embassy yesterday morning. By last evening, folks, we saw a statement from Sue, purportedly. We saw a statement from Sue. And here is what Sue said, among other things. I, Sue Girong, wish to state categorically that I have never solicited any bribe or inducement from any company or individual for either myself, for any government official, including Vice President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, including the Vice President. So Sue denied the allegations that were made. Yep, Sue denied those allegations, ladies and gentlemen. But before we go on, let's take a revisit to a portion of that interview that caused quite a stir between the Vice President and Miss Isobel Hyung of Vice News Group, Vice Media Group. Here's a portion of that interview.
What about within your government?
Yes.
Do you accept bribes?
No, I don't.
We've spoken to a number of Chinese business people in Guyana who said that you do accept bribes, and they have said that in fact it's the only way to get business done is to bribe you. One Chinese businessman we spoke to involving timber logging told us that basically as long as the Vice President is okay with it, it's fine. He just needs to give one phone call to whoever is in charge, they'll get it done right away. The real big boss is the Vice President. Everything goes onto the table. The whole country is like this.
Yeah, well, I can't comment on that because it would be an anonymous person. You can just sit there and fabricate that. As I said before, a lot of the companies and reporters. But you can if you name the person, that's fine. When the reporters come from abroad, this is their catch you kind of thing. You always want to make a developing country leader look corrupt. So you've done your bit. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people. I can say, as two persons told me before this interview, don't do the interview with Vice News, because that is precisely what they will do. They
Okay,
will
well,
fabricate something and come and say they spoke with people here.
Well, we're not fabricating
Yes,
anything.
but
I'd like
is
to-
there,
let's talk about
let me tell you something. So all my statements are in with the Integrity Commission. The last government, they checked everything about me and they didn't find anything. They checked my bank accounts abroad. They checked everything. They didn't find anything. So there has to be the evidence of it. But you're not bringing evidence. You're saying an anonymous Chinese source.
Okay, well, let's talk about
Maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Zhirong?
So my relationship, nothing. He's a tenant in my place. Yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes. He is a friend of ours. His father was here from many years ago.
I mean, he lives next door to you.
Yes.
You know, he was able to arrange meetings and catch-ups with you at any point in the day. He claims
As a friend, yeah.
He claims that through his very close relationship with you, that he's able to get any deal done.
Well, I don't know
And
if
he's
that's.
been able to change laws for investors.
But then which law has been changed for any
So
investor?
Sue told us that if you want to get anything done in Guyana, you need some hookups. I'm very close with the Vice President and the other officials. The Vice President and I share a very close relationship. Also, if we do the business, he'll help out no matter what. There's no one else who can help like he does. He also says when he's talking about
Yes, but help-
prospect investors that
Yeah.
the Vice President said he can change the Constitution, he said he can manage. Everything is going to be done soon. He's really treating us as brothers. He's already trying to help us as much as possible. Of course, I need to give back to him in return.
Yeah, but that is, I don't know about giving back, but I do that to everybody who comes to my office. The American companies come here to see me and they need a meeting. You asked to see me. I have an open door policy since I was president. So people come to see me. But I've had a long history of being in public office, and we never had any of this stuff that you talk. And all my accounts are clear. If you are coming here with specifics, so I just heard what you read, and that's totally accurate. I help out as many people as I can. That's totally accurate what you read there. Unbelievably accurate. It's accurate. So I help people out, but it doesn't mean for consideration. It does not mean for bribe, because I believe that we have a mission to help as many people as possible move forward in this country.
Well, Sue also told us that, I mean, the amount will divide between the Vice President. It's going to be a service or process.
Oh, really?
If we're going to do business together, my boss is not going to directly receive the money. Obviously, it's not going to directly transfer to him. The service charge is 4% of the total. It's not only me, most of it's the Vice President.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use middlemen like Sue in order to take money on your behalf so that you can keep your hands clean?
No. The answer is no.
Why do you think that Sue would say this?
I don't know. You have to ask him.
I mean, he's saying it because he, as he understands it, that's the truth.
Well, no, that's he understands it, so that's what you have to ask him. But the answer is no.
So why do you think he's saying this to us?
I don't know.
So follow us, folks. That is just a segment of what was pulled out by the Vice President himself that caused such a stir. And the question is still, who is Sue? And then you had the press conference call after that, the denial. Then we have the statement by the Chinese embassy in Guyana. And then we have a statement by someone purporting to be Su Zhirong, Sue, the man himself. But one thing we left out the timeline is a statement, or rather a tweet today by Isobel Young herself, the journalist. Tweeted just today, folks. about this issue. And this is what Isobel said on Twitter. Well, she can tweet. Duh. Who's sharing the live stream, folks? Who's sharing the live stream? Who's sharing it? Who's smashing the emoji button? This is what Isobel Young said on Twitter today. This is Isobel Young in her own words on Twitter. Y'all need a Twitter account. We seem to have hit a nerve in Guyana. Or rather, let me read it right. We seem to have hit a nerve with Guyana's Vice President Jack Dio. Our report hasn't even come out as yet. Our report hasn't even come out as yet. We seem to have hit a nerve. Isobel hitting below the belt. A nerve. Where's the nerve? We seem to have hit a nerve in Guyana. And then she posts along with that tweet all of these front pages and snippets from articles, the Chinese embassy statement, and all of that. This is Isobel Young. She says, we seem to have hit a nerve in Guyana, the cooperative oil producing republic. We seem to have hit a nerve with Guyana's Vice President Jack Dio. Our report hasn't even come out as yet. I am super excited for this report. Waiting with bated breath. It's like a new movie come out. I hope they show it by Movie Tongue and so on. I want to go and eat some popcorn and eat some soda and drink some soda and have some hot dogs with this. So that was this morning, folks, and also happening today. You're going to put on your seatbelt now. Speaking on the issue was the defender-in-chief. So we got the interview, we got the denial, we got the statement, and then we got Irfaan. We got the statement, we got Suji Rang, and then we got Isobel again this morning with her tweet, and then we got the defender-in-chief. Folks, we got the defender-in-chief. You're going to want to share the live stream, folks. Right? You're going to want to share the live stream. But just to have you all know, hold up. Just to have you all know, we don't run on water around here. And we know them boys planning for we. You see how they plan for mud water? That is how they're planning for us too. Unfortunately, we don't run on water. Some people don't even want to take a second to share the live stream. Don't you want to take a second to smash the emoji button? Folks, there are several ways you can support us to continue doing what we do here. Several platforms available for you guys to partner with us. We got the Cash App feature. Our handle is the $ in the ring 592. We got the PayPal and Zelle platform. It's one email address for both, in the ring 592 at gmail.com. And we have also the MMG local Cash App system. That's the GTNT system. Our number there is 627-6963. We are available via Western Union and we are available via Zelle. Now that we brought that infomercial break to an end, back to regular programming, folks. So we are the defender-in-chief. We are at the defender-in-chief. So there was a military event happening this morning at the National Cultural Center. And a journalist, a local journalist, a female journalist as well, respected journalist, put a question to the defender-in-chief on the Sugate scandal, gripping the nation. She put a question to the defender-in-chief, folks. And you want to know what the response is? Who's sharing the live stream for us to get to that? We got to get a certain number on the live stream before we release this credible and valid information to you guys. Here is what, because we love you guys, here is what the defender-in-chief said just this month. Y'all ready for it? You all share the live stream as yet? Folks, I think we're got to take another infomercial break now. Some people are sharing the live stream and they're not smashing the emoji button as well. So take a second, folks, and share. We want folks to get the valid and credible information. This is what the defender-in-chief said when the question was posed to him this morning. Buckle up. You're in for a rough ride. Buckle up, folks.
So there was a release of an interview between the vice president and a vice news journalist, and then there were a lot of reports of allegations of corruption and government officials taking bribes for the secure or for contracts.
I don't know about a lot of reports, so
Well,
can you give me the reports?
In the press.
What report you talking
Well,
about?
all the
No,
national
you are a
press.
reporter and you're telling me
Yes.
that you saw a report.
It
Tell me
was
what report.
reported
Tell me which
that the vice
protest. Tell me one
president-
protest.
It was reported that the vice president.
So I'm going to ask you a question now. I'm going to ask you a question. I heard that you are paid. I heard that you are paid by a special interest group to get a specific type of report in your newspaper. Is it true?
No, it's
Is it
not
true?
true, sir, but I would
Exactly.
respond to that, and I
Exactly.
would
It's
defend
an
myself.
it's an
So
exactly.
I'm asking you, sir,
It's
are
an
you going to defend
it's an
your
allegation.
government?
Of course.
Good.
My government is above board. But I'm just saying this to say
I
how
understand that.
sensational people are just doing things with sensational headline. I can ask you. An allegation is made that last night you removed a light from a car. Is it true?
And it would be up to me to respond appropriately.
Exactly. And if you say no, it's not true, then your headline should not be sensational. But this is what is happening. There's a lot of sensationalization that is going on of news. And I'm not into that. I'm into facts. Building one Guyana based on honesty, integrity, based on hard work, based on facts. This same reporter did not even know what the Amalas Falls project is about. Did not even know the name of roads. But came here and I heard because we got intelligence gathering too, I heard that the reporter had certain special interests. An allegation was made as president. Some people called me and said that this reporter was having a special interest on a special group, was managed by a special group. That is the information that people call me. That allegation was made. And I want the reporter to respond whether indeed this is true. Whether indeed this is true. First of all, the project. She said that the vice president would change the constitution. What nonsense that is the allegation. Somebody can just wake up and change the constitution. There's a process. That alone and the misinformation discredits her and tells you that her only objective was in pursuing a special interest. And go and do the research on this news agency and research on the individual. So this person came, did not even know what she's talking about, but the vice president can change the constitution, and he's planning to change the constitution to help some company out, which is absolute rubbish. Then did not know that the Amalas Falls project went out to public tender. The Amalas Falls, are you aware of this? And would you report? I'm challenging you now, as a good reporter, to go in your newspaper, and I'm challenging you in all of the press. I want to see your report tomorrow, outlining the following that I'm saying to you. The Amalas Falls was publicly advertised. It was a public process. It was done in accordance with the national procurement system. It was evaluated. A recommendation was done after an evaluation as who was the best bidder. That is a separate process, above board, beyond transparency. But I want you, as a good reporter, who I'm sure you are, an excellent reporter, to go and outline. I want to see this tomorrow. If you do this tomorrow, I'll be very happy. Not just to ask the question about this woman who arrives in this country and what I'm hearing, what a lot of reports coming to me that was a special interest. I want you now to outline in great clarity for the world the process that we embarked on for all these projects. Would you do that for me? As a good journalist, I'm giving you facts. You've asked me a question. I'm presenting to you the facts. I'm presenting to you what occurred. As a fantastic journalist, are you going to present these facts to the people in your article?
I will present facts.
Are you going to present this fact? You can go and check this.
Of course.
Are you going to check it and present it?
Once it's factual.
Who do you work for?
The Village Voice newspaper.
Good. So I'm going to watch for the Village Voice article, and these facts are there. I'm going to ask the people from DPI to help me to circulate the facts. I'm going to write it, and I'm going to make sure this reporter get all the facts on Amala's calls, and make sure we check the article tomorrow, and I want to see all of that in the article. Thank you very much. You're so gracious.
What the actual hell? What the actual hell? Irfaan, like you want to editor-in-chief at Village Voice now. Nigel, you gotta watch yourself. Irfaan want editor-in-chief at Village Voice. He's instructing the reporter what should be in her article, what should be in the newspaper there at Village Voice. The state is subsidized Village Voice. I felt as though that reporter was on trial for Isobel Young. I felt like this reporter was being charged for the interview between the vice president and Isobel Young. What the actual hell from the defendant-in-chief? Folks, you heard that? You sat through that? You all buckle yourselves in? You all share the live stream? What the actual hell? How do you even begin to unpack that? He didn't hear, he didn't know. He seemed to have a lot of information on Young. Pre-packaged. Young came with motives. Folks, and mind you, Isobel Young's report, as she said in her tweet today, has not even been released as yet. Her report has not even been released as yet. What the actual hell? It perhaps is the first time in history where an article, a report, a mini documentary, a documentary has not even been released. And it has already been banned. It has already been banned. If you want a definition for prejudging, there is it. What the Svetlana Marshall perhaps felt ambushed. Ambushed. But we gotta keep at it. We gotta keep at it, folks. I did say to you I'm gonna be joined by Christopher Jones, but I think some of you may have missed part of that. And so I want to run it back for you guys. We're gonna pull it up back. Do I have Christopher Jones? Yes, I have Chris with me. I think Chris might be ready to come on, and we're gonna play it back. We have to play it back because it went by so fast. I hope that you guys were bracing yourselves. I hope you guys were bracing yourselves for that. I do see our guest, the Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip, Christopher Jones, settling in. So come on. What the actual hell? I want to hear from Chris, his impression of these events. Folks, without any further ado, the Opposition Chief Whip. Chris, a very good night and welcome. What the actual hell, Chris? What's happening?
What the actual hell? A series of unfortunate events for the People's Progressive Party Civic continues. That's how I would want to coin it. Sue Gates, very appropriately said, very appropriately put, but not surprisingly, the response today from Irfaan Ali.
Talk to us.
His tone, his demeanor. This is typical PPP. They are now in defense mode. They have to defend the vice president. You know the saying, when the S hit the fan, and that is essentially what is happening here. And as Isabella tweeted out today, that the report has not even come out yet. And I am hopeful. I have my popcorn and cokes, as you would say, and I am anxiously waiting when this report will come out. Because as we said before, it is what we have been saying time and time again about the People's Progressive Party Civic. We said that about contractors, that if you pass a bribe, that you will get a contract. You have demonstrated on your program countless times, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, that the Guyana police force had a sting operation and caught her red-handed, asking a contractor to pay some $200,000 every month because she would have awarded him a contract. You would have shown close relationship with people from certain ministries that subsequently, with those video with them palancing on weekends, excursion, that those same companies get contracts and so forth. So Everybody in Guyana knows the reality of Guyana. It is now only that Isabella, an overseas reporter that came here, did a report here, and she essentially publicized another aspect of the corruption that we know. We live here, we know this is normal. For us, it's normal. But you see, the manner in which the report was done, and as I said to people, reporters from these renowned media outfit, they don't just come and make an allegation. They would have already have their facts. They have their facts already with them. So when they ask you a question, is that they already know the answer. It's like how we probe in the National Assembly. We only ask questions because we already know the answer. And that's
Yeah,
how we were able to
yeah,
catch many of the ministers in a lie. Like, for example, Dharmalal, with the whole claiming that the road in Mocha, that Burnham Boulevard, was done. And there you saw the footage. We knew what the answer would be, but we know the
yeah.
reality on the ground and so forth.
Chris, there's an adage that when old man say he can pelt you, he done got the brick in his hands already. And you often quote a line from Burnham that is important not only to read what is on the line, but what is between the line as well. And Isobel or Isobel Young seemed to be very confident in that tweet there, in her story, in her sources. And she probably can't even wait to publish that as well. I found it to be very confident in what she's doing.
And this, you could essentially say this is about the second time that Jagdeo has been caught with his pants down, so to speak. I take you back to, I think it was 1999. Jagdeo there was an international BBC. The BBC team came to Ghana to do several interviews, and Barra Jagdeo at that time as president give them exclusive access to the office of the president, to the extent that these reporters were able to travel with Barra Jagdeo as president in his official vehicle. When the documentary actually came out and they showed the damning reality of Guyana, the entire PPP government was upset because, one, they didn't expect that would have been reported. And that documentary, your viewers can go and Google it. It is titled Trouble in Paradise, Guyana, Trouble in Paradise. And they made reference to Guyana, a country that is dirt poor. And they showed the reality of what is happening in the country. And that was the period during the Ronald Gadraj period when you had the operation of the Phantom Death Squad and so forth. So Isabella, with Sue Gates, did exactly what the BBC did several years ago when Barra Jagdeo was president. So it's almost like, for them, it is a known fact that if Barra Jagdeo has a governmental role in Guyana, whether as president or vice president, that they know corruption runs rampant. We would have said time and time again on this program, as we would have seen, that since the People's Progressive Party Civic came back into office, within a month, you had these major busts started again. And every single month or week, we read about plane being discovered in some airstrip with cocaine inside. We read about the guns and all of that. So it is a fact that corrupt people who are involved in the illicit trade, find comfort in operating in Guyana under the People's Progressive Party Civic. And we always said that it runs from the very top of the chain all the way down.
Yep. I know, Chris, I love the fact you've entered politics so early. You have this historical knowledge of lots of the events, for those of us who came to politics late. And it's frightening to see the comparisons in the advent of the PPP post 2015 and exactly all that it entails. Their characteristics are on full display currently. But this interview between Svetlana Marshall of Village Voice and Irfaan Ali, I think Irfaan Ali had some stuff in his back pocket. He knew he was going to be asked this question and he was going to defend the vice president, but he seemed to have done more harm than good. And in addition to that, Chris, it seems to be the first report, the first story, biography, mini-series, whatever it is that Vice does, that is going to come out, and even before you see a line, before you see a character, it has been slammed, it has been discredited, they're trying to legitimize this organization and all of that. But again, for those who may have missed it because Irfaan Ali went by so fast today, we want to run that back and then get Chris' commentary on the other end on these issues. Let's take a look.
So there was a release of an interview between the vice president and a journalist, vice journalist, and then there were a lot of reports of allegations of corruption and government officials taking bribes for the secure or for contracts.
I don't know about a lot of reports, so can you give me the reports?
In the press.
What report you talking about?
All the
No, you are a reporter and you're telling me that you saw a report. Tell me what report. Tell me which project. Tell me one project.
It was reported that the vice president.
So I'm going to ask you a question now. I'm going to ask you a question. I heard that you are paid. I heard that you are paid by a special interest group to get a specific type of report in your newspaper. Is it true?
It's
Is it
not
true?
true, sir.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's an
exactly.
So I'm asking you, sir.
It's an allegation. Of course.
Good.
My government is above board. But I'm just saying this to say how sensational people are just doing things with sensational headline.
Okay.
I can ask you. An allegation is made that last night you removed a light from a car. Is it true?
And it would be up to me to respond appropriately.
Exactly. And if you say no, it's not true, then your headline should not be sensational. But this is what is happening. There's a lot of sensationalization that is going on of news. And I'm not into that. I'm into facts. Building one Guyana based on honesty, integrity, based on hard work, based on facts. This same reporter did not even know what the Amalis Falls project is about. Did not even know the name of roads. But came here, and I heard because we got intelligence gathering too, I heard that the reporter had certain special interests. An allegation was made as president. Some people called me and said that this reporter was having a special interest on a special group, was managed by a special group. That is the information that people call me. That allegation was made. And I want the reporter to respond whether indeed this is true. Whether indeed this is true. First of all, the project. She said that the vice president would change the constitution. What nonsense that is the allegation. Somebody can just wake up and change the constitution. There's a process. That alone and the misinformation discredits her and tells you that her only objective was in pursuing a special interest. And go and do the research on this news agency and research on the individual. So this person came, did not even know what she's talking about, but the vice president can change the constitution, and he's planning to change the constitution to help some company out, which is absolute rubbish. Then did not know that the Amalis Falls project went out to public tender. The Amalis Falls, are you aware of this? And would you report? I'm challenging you now, as a good reporter, to go in your newspaper, and I'm challenging you in all of the press. I want to see your report tomorrow, outlining the following that I'm saying to you. The Amalis Falls was publicly advertised. It was a public process. It was done in accordance with the national procurement system. It was evaluated. A recommendation was done after an evaluation as who was the best bidder. That is a separate process, above board, beyond transparency. But I want you, as a good reporter, who I'm sure you are, an excellent reporter, to go and outline. I want to see this tomorrow. If you do this tomorrow, I'll be very happy. Not just to ask the question about this woman who arrives in this country and what I'm hearing, what a lot of reports coming to me that was a special interest. I want you now to outline in great clarity for the world the process that we embarked on for all these projects. Would you do that for me? As a good journalist, I'm giving you facts. You've asked me a question. I'm presenting to you the facts. I'm presenting to you what occurred. As a fantastic journalist, are you going to present these facts to the people in your article?
I will present facts.
Are you going to present this fact? You can go and check this.
Of course.
Are you going to check it and present it?
Once it's factual.
Who do you work for?
The Village Voice newspaper.
Good. So I'm going to watch for the Village Voice article, and these facts are there. I'm going to ask I'm going to ask the people from DPI to help me to circulate the facts. I'm going to write it, and I'm going to make sure this reporter get all the facts on Emila's Falls, and make sure we check the article tomorrow, and I want to see all of that in the article. Thank you very much. You're so gracious.
You know, Chris, I don't want to gloss over what has just been said, because if the president says to a journalist, I want to see this in an article tomorrow, that can be deemed as trying to skew the article in your favor.
That's correct.
Right?
That's
But Svetlana Marshall said that as long as we will print the facts, we will print facts. Now, what you want in the papers.
Exactly.
But to hear the president say, I want to see this in the Village Voice, he's either the editor or the owner. And even if they're the editor and the owner, they have a commitment and a responsibility to pursue the truth, to print the truth, and not what the president wants to see in the papers.
Exactly. Kim Jong-un has spoken.
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un has spoken. He wants to see it. But you see, you heard the arrogance in his response to a reporter. He didn't even allow the reporter to pose the question to him. And then he started to say that he heard nothing about it. And then he started to provide the facts based on the same question that the reporter was about to ask. So he's fully well aware, but he started off by saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what
Quite interesting. And it is the journalist, Isobel Young, who said that she hit the nerve.
Yeah.
And she knows what she's talking about clearly, because a nerve has been hit when you see the response of Irfaan Ali to the question, as you rightfully analyzed, Chris. He didn't know about the issue first, and then he said, we got intelligence. I got intelligence too. Wow. Yeah. And I saw that as an attack on this journalist, Isobel Young, from Vice News, who everybody knew is a credible news agency around the world. Give us a break with that. And then again, the manner in which you're directing Miss Marshall. I want to see this in the papers tomorrow. That alone, it isn't strange when you see that, when you see some ministers operate at the National Assembly. You understand. In the way they treat women, you understand where they get it from.
Exactly. But Sharon, PPP government has a history of the manner in which they deal with reporters. Quite obviously, if a report is not in their favor, they come out attacking, full attack to that media entity. So they're known for that. It's nothing strange, nothing new.
Very champion.
Yeah.
Fake news and, all of this madness.
Exactly.
Very, very champion. But because I think that lots of Guyanese are like you. We got we popcorn and we coke. Don't worry about the water and mind your own business thing. We got we popcorn and we cokes and we ringside, waiting for Vice News and Isobel Young to publish the report. She said it's a report they're going to publish, and we're going to see. We're going to see what they've been tracking and what they produce.
Right. We all found it strange when Jaglio published parts of this interview on his page. And it is part of the PPP's strategy. Because Jaglio, after finishing that interview, realized that the interview in itself is damning, and of course the allegations therein. So therefore, by releasing it ahead of Vice News actually releasing its actual report, is that you got this term you use that you cut them off at the pass. So you catch before. So they do exactly what you're saying they're doing. They discredit the journalists. They discredit the media outfit, and as such try to discredit the interview in its entirety. So when the actual report comes out, if they are successful in their bid to discredit the media entity and the journalists and the report, that when that report come out, they expect the Guyanese and the media here, the local journalists here, are going to be like, oh well, nah, nothing really, it's not nothing really. But the facts remain the facts. The People's Progressive Party Civic is a corrupt administration. It has been corrupt during its 23 years in office. If we attempt here now, Sharad, to list the litany of corruption that the People's Progressive Party Civic and government officials, ministers of the government who are involved in, we will have to spend another 5 hours in the ring. Because
Very well.
you go so far, but you could name like Odinga Lumumba with the dolphin scam. The list is long. The
Yeah.
list is
Yeah.
long. It's always been that way with the People's Progressive Party, Civic. But
Very much
Isabel
so.
exposed them.
Very much so. Chris, we got we popcorn and we cokes. And that being said, Chris, as we wrap up, I was in the National Assembly today, no fault of my own, but I was made to understand that I was suspended again today. I
Yes,
mean, like, how
that's
many
correct.
times can you be suspended for the same issue?
That's correct. But two things came out of that. So yesterday, during the consideration of the estimates, while the National Assembly was in the Committee of Supply as a whole, that is where essentially the motion to suspend you was passed. We right there and then recognized the folly in it. And of course, this morning we officially wrote the Speaker of the National Assembly, outlining to him that, listen, the process was not followed accurately, and therefore the suspension of Sherrod Duncan, as was done last night and publicized, is null and void. At the end of today's sitting, with the passage of the budget, the PPP, the government started to correct itself. The speaker started to correct himself, and a new motion was moved. Therefore, the first one, which was yesterday, is null and void. So therefore, you were not suspended yesterday, you were suspended today.
Wow.
But that in itself, and I'm happy that you have the amount of persons who are watching the program. Now, we've said to you, and this is to your viewers and your listeners, we said to you on December the 29th, the passage of the Natural Resource Fund was not properly done. Just like what happened last night in the assembly with the motion for Sherrod Duncan to be suspended, it was not properly done. And today in the National Assembly, the Parliament and the PPP sought to correct themselves. It is the same procedure that was breached on December the 29th. And that is why the APNU AFC continues to hold firm that the Natural Resource Fund was not legally passed because the House was not in session. So by virtue of what they did today, confirms what the AP and UFC said as it relates to the Natural Resource Fund on December the 29th. But I want to say this to you. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
So I wanted to add to you and your viewers. So essentially, you have been suspended for the next 4 sittings, the 45th, 46th, 47th, and the 48th. But noting that the mistake that was made last night, it would likely now be the 46th, 47th, 48th, and the 49th sitting. As well, you will not receive your salary for that day. You will not receive any benefits for that day. You are not entitled to be part of any parliamentary committee of which you are a member of quite a few of them. You will not be able to do that. You are not allowed to enter the precincts of the National Assembly and so forth and so on. So immediately after we got the official note of that, and I can inform you now, your colleague members of parliament, we have all decided that, listen, we will take out of our salaries the monies that will bring the equivalent to what you would be losing for the next 4 sittings. So you will get your salary, I will get my salary, and all of our salaries will match each other because we will ensure that you get your salary. So rest assured, we have you covered. You know the saying of the APNU AFC members of parliament, you touch one, you touch us all. And that's how we operate. So for us, all of us have been suspended, all of our salaries have been cut, and we damn good with it because we stand in defense of the people of this country. The fact of the matter remains the same. The mere fact that Sherrod Duncan could be suspended for doing what the Speaker of the National Assembly did not do on multiple occasions, for you to have a sitting minister of a government standing on his feet in the National Assembly while the cameras are on, it is being broadcast in Guyana, in the region, and internationally. And here is the minister of the PPP's government saying to a female member of parliament that you want a dildo. And among other things, and the speaker suspended you for chastising the minister and the speaker for not taking action. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable.
And unfortunately, that is where we are. That is where we are. But again, when you see how other women are treated, Isobel Young now being vilified. The only thing that hasn't happened is that they call her up to AFC. That's the only
Correct.
thing that hasn't happened. But folks, I am very touched by your generosity. And if I don't end the show very soon, I'm gonna start getting very teary-eyed. But I'm so happy,
So
Chris, that you
yeah,
guys are that you are here. And I know I've said this to folks that if I didn't step in there, I'm confident that any other male on the
yeah,
parliamentary opposition side would have stepped in because it was so gross. It was
exactly.
beyond the pale. It was
Ex-
over what is
Exactly.
accepted. We have our
Yeah.
bantering back and forth, but his
Mhm.
persistence during the course of examining the estimates for the Ministry of Local Government and Regional
Correct.
Development was over, far
Correct. Correct.
over what is acceptable. And
Correct.
I would gladly do it again,
Yeah.
salary or no salary, whatever the
And that is the
consequences, when it
point.
comes to
And
protecting our women.
exactly. And that is the point because remember as well, just to remind your viewers, you are one of the six MPs who are supposed to be going before the Privileges
Yeah.
Committee for what transpired on the 29th of December. So that didn't stop us from standing in defense. And you being suspended doesn't mean to me that, oh my God, if Cheryl gets suspended, I gotta watch myself. Because it does not matter. Once you are standing in defense of the people of this country and your colleagues MP, we do it and we'll do it again and again and again and again until the
Yeah.
National Assembly, until the Speaker gets it right, and the People's Progressive Party Civic. But when you look at the behavioral pattern of the PPP men, it is across the board. It is across the board. Treatment of women of the AFC and the PNC. We, as our political parties, we regard the women of our parties as the backbone of our parties, and we respect them. It is a complete opposite for the PPP. You have, for example, in the House, Barry Ramsaran, who most people would remember as strip
Strip
and
and slap.
slap,
Yeah.
strip and slap. And then you even could go back to Barajagio himself when he was president, when all of us were told that he got married to Varshni. We all heard the interview from Varshni Jagnio, who told this country about the treatment
The
meted out
horrors.
to her. Exactly. She was locked out of our matrimonial bedroom for damn sake. Her drivers was taken away from her
Yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
PB has that history of treatment against women. And Nigel Darmalal is no different, even in his personal affairs, of which I would mention here, but it's no different.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the APNU, AFC members of parliament and women of this country, and including the PPP, the women folk in the PPP, we will defend them. And Nigel Darmalal's statement was most disrespectful, not only to the APNU, AFC members of parliament, but all of the women who were in the precincts of the National Assembly, and all of the women who were listening to the National Assembly, and all of the women across the world who subsequently saw that snippet from Nigel Darmalal. It is gross disrespect to the highest level to women folk all across this country, and it cannot and will not be tolerated. The mere fact that you have been suspended for chiding him speaks volume to what we have been saying, what we have been enduring in the National Assembly. And what your viewers need to know as well, Sharon, is that all of the ministries that came, the ministers spent 1 hour with us. In the case of Nigel Darmalal, it was essentially 11 hours because for each region, it is 1 hour. And then his ministry of itself is an additional hour, 11 hours. So at the time of the incident, we were in our 5th hour with Nigel Darmalal. And the insults started from his ministry. He did it to Ganesh Maipal. Ganesh called on several occasions for the Speaker's protection. Mr. Speaker, could you have the Honorable Minister withdraw that statement? Then we moved to Region 1. He took off on MP Ronald Cox. Oh, he's a teacher in the region, but he don't work, but he get him free money, taking pay. Then we moved to Region 2. He started on MP Sherwin Holder. Oh, he's a mortician. He's a mortician. There is video footage with Sherwin Holder standing to his feet, calling on the Speaker of the National Assembly to have Nigel Darmalal withdraw that statement. Then we moved to Region 3, of which Ganesh Maipal is the regional MP, and he went after Ganesh again. Then we came to Region 4. He went on to the Region 4 regional chairman, Mr. Danny Siram. I stood up on a point of order and had the Speaker of the National Assembly demand that he withdraw and apologize, because the Region 4 regional chairman is not a member of parliament and he cannot defend himself. Then we went to Region 5 and he started on MP Vince Roy Jordan. And that is where you had some of the most violent racist statements being made. Nigel Darmalal on his feet in the National Assembly, speaking about allocations to various villages. And the village that came up was Bushlat. And Nigel went on to say, Mr. Speaker, let me explain to you what happened here. Because Bushlat is an East Indian village. And he went on, and you can't use those language in the House. Rather than the Speaker of the National Assembly dealing firm and resolute with the minister, the Speaker was essentially, minister, just move on. Just move on. No, that is when you stand. That is when you put your foot down and bring your House to some semblance of order. You know, we asked the Speaker yesterday when we met with him. I think it was MP Roysdale Ford. He says, you know, sir, you have to really look and see what would be your legacy. And that struck not only a nerve, but it caused you to pause and reflect, because we haven't completed 2 years. And you've had the most incidents in this National Assembly as compared to any assembly all the way back to when Guyana obtained independence. What your viewers may not even know is that the current Speaker of the National Assembly, who's a good friend of mine, and know him for a number of years, is the first speaker in Guyana's history to have a motion of no confidence brought against him. First speaker. And we haven't even completed 2 years. And every sitting after sitting, there are these incidents. And of course, he continues to be biased. He leans towards the PPP. He gives them a free pass. If Sherrod Duncan heckles, Mr. Duncan, if Ganesh heckles, Ganesh Maipal, on the government side, members, please. That's what you get. So you give them that pass. They recognize a Hebel, you know, we could get the free pass, and that's why they do what they do. And like you did, Gerard, and like you said, if the next sitting of the National Assembly, there is a similar incident, it may be me, it may be Rysdale, it may be any one of our MPs, but we will stand up firm and resolutely. Get it right.
Yep. Chris, thank you for your time with us this evening. Pace and power in 2022. That's what we said here. Pace and power. Opposition Chief Whip, Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones, Member of Parliament. Thanks for spending this time with us and bringing clarity to all these issues. Thank you, sir.
Most welcome, Gerard.
Great. Folks, that's our time this evening, and I want to thank the thousands of you who have stuck with us. Just a little past program time, guys. We're so privileged that you are here. So very, very privileged that you guys are here. As we said, unfortunately, around here, we don't run on water. Let me tell you all something. Them boys coming for us, Them boys coming for us. They're plotting and they're planning how they can dismantle. They don't want us to meet like this and to talk. They talk about democracy and transparency and good governance. You can see more. You think this is the last? Suspension from Parliament? Hold on. There's more coming. There is more coming. They're coming for us. They don't like us out here talking the business like this. Like would happen in any natural democratic country. No. They talk democracy, but they practice. But we can be out here. Irrespective of the struggle, irrespective of the consequences. We can be out here, folks. We can be out here. And I want to thank you guys for spending this time with us. Thousands of you are still with us. Come on board and partner with us so we can do more of this, guys. We can do more of this. We are available via Cash App. It's $sign in the ring 592. We're available via PayPal and Zelle. It's one email address for PayPal and Zelle, in the ring592@gmail.com. In the ring592@gmail.com. We're available as well via MMG. That's the GTT Cash App. MMG 6276963, 6276963. And we're available via Western Union and MoneyGram as well. Folks, you need any guidance on any one of these platforms in which you can support our program, WhatsApp that very number for MMG 6276963, and we'll be happy to give you guys some guidance. That's our time this evening, folks. So privileged to have all of you here with us. Hazelyn King and Marcia Agard, Wayne Bob and Joylyn Cook, Esther Blue, Jamal Aziz and Joy, Pamela, Jardine, Tumu Braffett, good to see you, Tumu, and Rosetta Boston, Nicola Daniels, Janet Edwards, Puri Lee, and Wayne Bob. Good to see each and every one of you. Ansel Mob Lynch and all of you nice people. Yuli North, good to see you as well. Tony Hack and Andrew John, good to see you, beautiful folks. Sean Archer and Monica Williams, Roxanne Aaron, Marissa Braffett, good to see you. Monica Scott and Anne-Marie Roberts. Folks, that's our time this evening. Thanks for joining us. Do stay safe wherever you are, guys. Stay safe. Please and thank you. Stay safe. That's our time. That's our time. Stay